is there a concern? Because see, this new recovery system that you have is KYC based, right? So now you're storing KYC data, and KYC data could be leaked. So
we are not storing it, but our partners are.
A partner. So, but the partners get hacked, and it happens, right? I mean,
it happened.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get in there. Like that was not my intent, but. I'm just saying, like, but that again, that's an honest sort of trade-off that users should know, right? That KYC data could be stolen from a third partner, and that's it, right? I mean,
and by the way, all of this is optional. You don't have to use it. Of
course. But now my question is, you do have now this seed sort of sharded, right? Mm-hmm. Between these parties, right? Mm-hmm. And they are essentially unencryptable without the user, right? It's kind of the whole point. So, is it a concern now that you have third parties that could have access to customer funds without them authorizing that if they collude?
We're talking about the realm of what's sort of possible, and the worst case scenarios, et cetera, et cetera. Like in the 99% of the cases, there is no collusion that is really possible between the three entities, and the way that this is built. But we've released a lot of content. The way that this is built, you can only only the user can sort of call back the three shards. The only concern really is if we get subpoena by a government to say now, this user specifically, we would like you to, retrieve the three shards, etc. So that's not a real concern in the end, because for several reasons. One, you only get subpoena like this by governments if it's a serious act, like terrorism, drugs, etc., etc. Like it's not true that the average person gets subpoenaed every day.
Can I just interrupt there? Coinbase had all their customer data subpoenaed by the IRS.
John Doe.
Yeah, and so they had to supply every customer. Was it over $10,000 or $20,000?
$20,000.
Yes. $20,000
over a 3-month rolling period.
And they gave all. Their
and Coinbase
data.
fought back because they wanted, I think, $3,000.
Right, but Coinbase is a bank. This is not a banking service. Okay, so it's very different.
But it's what I'm saying is the IRS wanted that information. If something
there is no information for the IRS on this.
Well, you do have XPubs, but you had them before too on Ledger Live, right?
I mean, there is no real information for the IRS on this, etc. And by the way, again, this is there will be trade-offs in the future. So, we're not saying that if you're uncomfortable with this, you can keep your 24 words and keep doing what you're doing today. This doesn't change anything, okay? Doesn't change anything, doesn't create a backdoor. We can come back on open source, not open source, but in the end, we're a good actor. We don't create backdoors in our user's device. And by the way, if we did, the business goes south very quickly. We are trying to build a big business, so creating backdoor in our user devices is a bad practice, but also because it will be seen. It's something that if it happens, it's seen. You can't hide that.
The issue is not maliciousness from you, right? You want to grow a business. The issue is always, you have a rogue employee, you have a state actor that embeds in the company. These things happen, and it happened.
But that's not possible in the way that we've explained this. In the way that we build the firmware, you can't have one person. Not one person controls the firmware, so not one person can put rogue code in through the firmware. No one can actually tell us what to do with the firmware, unless we go to jail. But that's a different thing. By the way, when this happens. Let's say that suddenly the French government decide that, okay, Ledger no more, and so now we're going to control the firmware, etc. By the time that this happens, then, there will be a message out there to say to all of our customers, move your funds away from Ledger. Because this is a real scenario if suddenly France goes into a tyranny, which is not today. But if it was China, then I wouldn't trust a Chinese actor with this for sure, and for the reason that you're exposing. But there is a certain element of trust that we still need to have, in this marketplace, because the don't trust, verify is true to a certain point. There are elements of trust that you still need to have in terms of what product you're going to use, who you're going to trust, who you're not going to trust, etc. Look at Coinbase business. It's based on the trust that you have the Coinbase.
This is the thing. And this is maybe where I sort of diverge from a little bit of the rhetoric on Twitter is that.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I think there'll be a lot of trade-offs.
This is the most important point. The problem that we have right now.
Just a moment.
Wait. No one does self-custody today in this business. Self-custody is the small part of the iceberg. The big part of the iceberg is everybody is in custody. And so when we're thinking about like what's best for the industry and how to go forward, this is the real question. You have 400 plus million users that are doing crypto. How many users do you have?
We have a few.
No, but how many?
We don't divulge numbers.
Why not?
Because we don't.
But why not? Why trust?
Why
Don't trust verify. Why aren't you open source
my
on that?
business is private.
I don't know. You should
I'm a private company.
Okay, so we sold 6+ million devices, and that's on 400 and something million users. You sold probably 1 million or 2, let's say, so that's 8. Trezor sold 1 million or 2, let's say 10, etc. So and that's devices. There is more than one device per user. So actually, you got sub 10 million users that are doing self-custody today with hardware wallets, which is the best security out there. So to me, this is the real concern.
See, you're this is the issue. Like, I think you're missing my point. I was actually support your feature here, because see, like Coinbase is the worst possible way somebody could possibly have Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's like it's just horrible, right? It's an IOU. They're not good actors, and you don't own your Bitcoin. So what I was going to say is, I'd rather people upgrade that to something like you have now, right? As long as these concerns, these features are explained to the, like, in nauseam to them, because people need to understand where, I know you may think it's sort of like, very unlikely and it may not be, it's not possible. We are good people, but I think users, and this of course goes counter marketing, but users need to be reminded 50 times that these are the risks. So you could have collusion between actors, you could have bugs, you could have, so for example, you now have an API in your firmware, right, which is really the OS of the secure enclave there, to extract seeds.
No, to extract encrypted shards.
Sure,
not
sure.
the seed. Yeah, but okay, but like when you say it like that, people hear extracting seeds from the device, which is not what we're doing. It's an important distinction.
Hang on, I'm going to get there. Okay. So the issue now is you have this system, and if you got the encryption done wrong, for example, there is an implementation issue on the sharding. Maybe there is leaks. No device
what
is
do you mean
unhackable.
maybe there's leaks?
There's leaks of the private key when this operation is happening. That could happen. The device is unlocked.
Well, it's a single key, right? All the shards, like Ledger has one key that they're encrypting all the shards with, right?
Ledger doesn't have any key. No. So
what is the shards encrypted with?
What is the shards?
What's the secret?
Everything is happening on device.
It's just Shamir.
But the whole point
is just breaking apart.
But the whole
by the
point
way,
is if
we're
you
using
lose the
Shamir,
device, you can recover.
What?
The whole point is if you lose the device, you can still recover.
Yes.
So where is the secret that encrypts the 3 shards?
No, it's the shards combination. So you need 2 out of the 3 shards. So essentially 2 parties need to collude.
Oh, it's just Shamir's secret.
Yeah, but the problem is you now have 3 shards going over the wire to the third parties, right?
Okay, continue.
So, listen, the point that I'm making is
through secure channels.
But my point is, like, there is implementation risk, right? Always. It's all software is breakable. Your device has been hacked before.
First of all,
too.
it's not software. It's an operating system that sits in a secure enclave. Yeah, but okay. But it's different from... terminology is very important because when you say it's software, for me, Trust Wallet, for example, that's software.
Yeah, that's garbage.
And yes. Voilà.
Like,
but that's very different
listen,
from saying
your technical team.
No, I understand, but like I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. And I think there is a difference by saying software and saying like secure operating system in a secure enclave. That's not the same thing. What's happening now is a secure operating system in a secure enclave. That's the problem, not the software.
Can I ask a dumber question? Because I'm just a user, right? Yep. At the end of the day, we mine Bitcoin and we want to store that over time. And what I'm hearing here is basically like there's a technical conversation around the changing surface area of trade-offs, right? And if we had to roll back the last 48 hours, are we fundamentally having a conversation around user knowledge management and marketing, or are we having a conversation around the technical implementation of a signing device?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's fundamentally communication, education, explaining what we do, and do it in the right order, I guess. Rather than the technical discussion, because The problem with the technical discussion, I mean, we could debate for. I am not the right guy. Again, I'm trying to say, and to the audience, like, I am not the tech guy at Ledger. I'm the CEO and I'm chief executing officer. So I execute the company, and I'm trying to take this business to become a much bigger business. Not because we're greedy, but also because we feel that self-custody is the way forward, and this is how users will actually become free from the matrix. So actually, our mission is to make all of this secure and easy to use, and that's where we work. So technical people are Charles Guillemet, our CTO, that you know well. There's Nicolas Bacca, who is the inventor of this. And if we want to debate like the deep technical aspect of this, there are the best guys to discuss this.
And we will do that.
Yes,
we will make that one happen.
And so, apologies to everyone that think that sometimes I'm imprecise, etc. Like I'm not a tech guy, and should just want to put it out there. So to me, it's just an education problem, because the debate actually of what's the best technical implementation, open source, not open source, actually hurts self-custody as a whole. Because in the end, my point is, you say Coinbase is garbage, you say Trust Wallet is garbage, but these guys combined, they have 10x the number of users that we have. And so actually my job is to make sure that these users come to safety and something that is better. You say it's imperfect. I say yes, but it's 20x better than what they're doing on Coinbase or Trust Wallet today.
Absolutely.
And so that's my point.